Hello. How's it going, everyone? Feels like we're beating the dead horse at this point, but here we are again. Welcome back to another Maple podcast. The topic is similar to the last one. We are talking about my situation again. What changed in the past 2 weeks since the last podcast? Well, a couple people made some videos on my ban and on my situation, so I brought them on. So I got Ryan Reboot.
What's good? How's it going, everybody? Yo!
We got Ryan, and we got Dream/Sushi.
You can just call me Sushi. I think that's what most people would know me by.
Sushi?
But yeah, what's
Alright,
up?
gotcha. So, Nick doesn't have a webcam, unfortunately, so his top left, he has his nice profile picture up there, but unfortunately
you can
can't see
just imagine
him.
me flailing my arms and getting angry during this instead of actually seeing it.
Right. And I brought Scardor back. So, we'll start off with Ryan's video. So, Ryan, do you want to go over what you said in yours real quick? Just a brief summary.
Yeah, sure. So, basically in the video I talked mainly about my thoughts on the situation, and I gave like what I think you should do, just based off being in the exact same situation as you, obviously to the not same scale. Basically I talked about the fact that whether it was key weighting or using a foreign keyboard or botting or using third-party programs, whatever it was, same result should lead, same actions or different actions should lead in the same result in terms of consequences. Then in terms of advice, mainly just saying that I think that you should stop playing MapleStory 1, but that's just me. But obviously for you, like, because I know Kobe mentioned it on the other podcast as well, your place in the community is so far above everybody else that I can understand why you wouldn't quit it. So I wouldn't blame you if you don't, because like in terms of Twitch, in terms of YouTube, I mean, nobody can touch you on that. That's facts. I mean, they even flew you out to California and stuff, right? So so there's that. But that was pretty much it. Mainly just talking about my advice, but then also I do think that it was justified, even if it wasn't using a third-party program.
Alright, so on quitting, I don't know. I feel like I've invested so much time into this game. I just have so much game knowledge and just so much investment in the game. I don't know. I don't really feel like I can. Yeah, sunk cost fallacy maybe, but I don't know. I just don't feel like I can quit.
Same way when I left on. Like when you know so much about MapleStory, when you go to a different game, it's like, oh my, I am so out of place. I am a fish out of water. Like none of these mechanics are MapleStory. I don't know how to level. I don't know, like I can go on any class in MapleStory and I can get my way where I want to be like instantly. I know the path. And so like venturing off from that was like one of the, oh shit, am I actually gonna like this? Oh shit, am I just gonna be a noob forever? Like, I feel that, but it's definitely something where now after like going to so many different games, you pick up that skill set of learning MapleStory. You can apply that to everything. Once you learn to be hardcore in one game, you will be hardcore in the next game you go to if you give it enough time.
Min-max.
Yeah, like for example, just going off what Nick said, like if you ever decided to, I don't know if you ever played like any type of fighting game before, but I know for a fact, Zong, that if you picked up any fighting game, you could probably be godlike in it, because the fact that if you can grind in MapleStory for all those hours and grind for all those drops and not be bored, like if you apply that to like a fighting game or like a shooting game, it's the same concept in terms of improving yourself. You would be successful in that too. You know what I mean? So it's the same. It's not the same game, but like the skill set carries over.
It does.
So I would agree with that. But yeah, like I understand what you're saying, Zong, in terms of like you did invest a lot of time. I mean, all of us. I think we all played like before Big Bang. We all played. Some of us like beta, right? But sometimes it's worth it to let it go, man. I'm just saying, but I'm biased. I'm be real. I'm biased, man, because I'm not playing it, obviously. But like other than
trying to come back.
Hey man, I tried, but they don't want me to come back. You know? They said get this guy out of here, man. They don't want me back.
They got you. Dude.
You know, but it's one of those things where it's like, if I wanted to come back, I could, but a lot of my fun, and I don't know, maybe you guys can speak on it as well because you guys are streamers too. A lot of my fun with the game is interacting on YouTube and on Twitch. Like that is so much fun, just streaming, right? And I can't do that because your boy's gonna get banned. So if I can't do that, then it's like, why even play the game type of thing? So
Yeah,
that's
that's fair enough. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, in this 30-day period where I'm not playing the game, I've been venturing out to other games, but it's like nothing really, I don't know, gives me the same enjoyment, you know, as Maple. Like, I don't know, I've been playing a lot of Tetris, I've been playing some Steam games, but I mean, I don't know, it's not the same, you know.
Well, I mean, you definitely got to hop into another MMO if you're going to try to compete with MapleStory, right? Because the appeal of MapleStory isn't too much the game mechanics, it's the atmosphere, it's the goals that you can set for yourself, it's the community that you join. Yeah.
Yeah, the mindset.
Playing Tetris obviously isn't going to give you the same enjoyment.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it depends, right? I mean, if your enjoyment is interacting with the community and discovering new things, you can still apply that to a lot of other games. But I guess you got to find, like, kind of analyze what the main aspects are that you were enjoying the most, and then try to find those in other games.
Yeah, I haven't really thought too much on quitting completely. So, yeah, I don't know.
But think about it though. Like why? Like let's look at it. Like why, if you do come back, right? Because obviously you mentioned that you were gonna make a new kana or whatever, start from scratch, whatever, right? What would be the point? Because wouldn't you feel like you'd still be at that same point before, and then that would lead to you wanting to do it again? Or do you feel like now it's like, I know, like I'm reformed, I'm good, 100%, it's never gonna happen again? Because I know, for speaking for me, I know that I would 100% do it again. Like if I got to that point, I'll go like, wait a second, why the hell am I doing this shit when I could just do this? You know what I mean? Like you don't feel like you'd ever slip back into that?
No, I mean, I reformed the day I got caught, because I got caught, and then I was like, all right, this is the agreement, and then I uninstalled and everything, and I started fresh on a new kana,
Right.
and then it came out 2 months later. I made the video, and because I made the video, I got chain banned on all of my accounts, and then I was like, well, shit, I just made this new kana to to be on rankings and everything, and now it's on ranks. So I mean, it feels like kind of a waste, but at the same time, it's like, I guess, just an oversight on my part. I didn't expect to get chain banned. So
that's true, and I can understand, like for you, like rankings is obviously very important. Because I mean, you were number 2. Was it for reboot or for the world overall? I forgot what it was.
My bro character was rank 2 GMS, and then
250,
I was rank 4 in reboot. So
So for that, like, because obviously I can't speak to that because I've never been on that level on the rankings, but I can understand where that would come in, where like rankings are important, because once you are, especially in that top 5, then yeah, I can completely understand why rankings would matter in that case. So yeah, I can understand why you'd feel like, okay, like make a new account because you want it to be on rankings, and then now it's like it was for naught because they just chain banned it, right? So
We still
really
don't
can't,
know,
but I'm
right,
weird.
if he will be off rankings after the ban on his main, right?
no, but when you
It's
get banned,
assumed,
it kicks it
but-
off. No?
Not always. That's
I
why.
mean, we're not sure if they're gonna put me back on. I think it's safe to assume that they're not gonna put me back on, but I mean, we'll have
probably.
to see after the ban's lifted.
Weird. But I mean, like, why would they put you back on though? That's the thing, right? Because it's one of those things where like everybody that gets banned, they get taken off rankings. Because I remember like a lot of guilds would like search for people's IGN to see if they're on rankings, and if not, they go like, oh yeah,
I mean,
this guy's a botter, this guy's been banned. You know?
Typically, what happens is they ban, or they take the account that's not on rankings. Oh, sorry. The account that's caught breaking the rules or whatever. They take that account off rankings. In my case, my kana was caught, and then I got chain banned. So we're not sure what happens in that case. Because
In other chain bans that I've seen from the people that I used to know, generally you didn't get taken off the rankings, but that was 2 years
That
ago,
was
and
ages.
Nexon's kind
I
of
think
been
they've changed the policies since
a little
then.
bit different since
Yeah,
then.
Dude.
I got screwed, man. I got like when I got chain banned, all my things came off rankings. Every single one of them. Like I had no luck at all. So I hope that'd be good. For your situation, that'd be good if they do.
No, I do think there's a fairly big difference in severity between the.
Shit.
Because I mean,
Hey man, let's be real. A huge difference.
Yeah. because
Wait, what do you
yeah,
mean by no luck, Ryan?
What do you mean?
Well, you said you have no luck. Do you think you should have still been on the same rankings as?
Oh
other
no,
people?
just figure of speech. Hell no, definitely no. Let's be real
Okay,
here.
okay. No, it
Come
kind of
on
sounds
now.
like you were.
No,
unjustly or something.
I'm the last person to be crying about rankings, man.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No, because
So
I
Zong.
guess for other people who care about rankings as well, the whole thing
Yeah.
about rankings is the rankings make sense because we're all playing the game with the same like tools, right? So if you're using different tools, like what does the ranking still matter at that point? That was kind of the whole contradiction in the whole situation. Like, care a lot about rankings, but then you kind of taken away the value of the rankings away in the pursuit of the rankings, and there's that contradiction in there.
Yep.
That was
Okay,
a lot of
that's
people
where I
had the same
disagree
problem
with your guys' points from the last podcast. I don't think that Zong contradicted himself. I think that he broke his own moral standard 100%. But I don't think that there's a contradiction in the way that Zong sees what he's working for on his main and what he did on that alt. I don't think in any situation ever would Zong have started with, okay, I'm going to macro my main. Because like that wasn't an it wasn't just like I don't want to get caught on my main. It was that the rankings mean this to me on my main, and this Kana doesn't mean anything to me. So like his moral system there was definitely broken, but I don't think in any universe Zong would have been like, okay, I'm gonna macro on my main and I earn that rank. Because the rankings at the end of the day mean only what they mean to you, and to Zong, grinding it out every day is what it meant. So Zong wouldn't macro for his rank. He would macro in alt to help his rank in like a indirect source, right? But yeah, I don't see the contradiction there.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, like if you're macroing on another account to help your main account, I mean, it's pretty much the same shit. I mean, you might as well do it on your main account. You know what I mean? It's like
if you were leeching yourself and you were using it as a safeguard, I completely agree with you.
right.
The fact that like the
Well, he's
Kana's
giving
levels
himself Kishin, which is
didn't
basically-
directly affect it. Yeah, but anybody could have given him Kishin.
Yeah, but the reason is that, but they didn't. That's the
Yeah,
whole
they
point.
didn't. That's what I was gonna say, but they did. But they didn't. He did it. You get what I'm saying? It's like he still did it on another account, which was his, to boost his own main. It's technically, you know what I mean? I can see what. Now, if it was another person, if it was a homie in the guild that was kitchening him, then we're not even having this conversation, right? But
Yeah.
so I feel like it is a
he,
valid
knew
point.
that they bought it on that character as well.
Yeah,
That kind of
yeah.
became too.
That's the. I got in an argument with the entire MapleStory Reddit last week, and that was
Oh, yeah?
the thread that came out of it. Was basically
Oh.
like, okay, if I botted a Kana for Zong and he knew that I botted it, would that delegitimize his rank on his main? Because the
Yeah.
Kishin he's getting didn't come from a legitimate source. I don't think so.
If he knew,
I think so. Yeah, if he knew, yeah, come on now.
didn't know,
It's
then
just like
no.
those people that would get carries in reboot from people that botted, and they're like, oh, well, my hands are clean. I'm not a botter. But these people carry them in their
that
botting with no
run
delay.
that they got carried in wasn't using hacks, I wouldn't think that.
Why not?
Really?
If
Oh,
they were
that's
sitting in a
interesting,
party
then.
where
I
a
agree.
hacker was hacking
To
them for the
disagree.
boss,
Yeah.
then like they're leeching off a hacker. But if someone hacked to get 2 mil, right? Or whatever
Right,
the fuck
right,
it
right.
is now, 50 mil.
True.
And they went in and they
You know?
did the boss legitimately. Getting carried by that person doesn't legitimize anything you've done. I mean, if you think getting carried delegitimizes you, sure. But like
Yeah.
they have,
Again,
they
if
have
you,
no.
whether you know or not is important here. Whether you know or not.
I don't think so. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. I mean, we can agree
think
to
that
disagree on that.
most of the 250s on the race to 250, I can't speak for Zong himself, but I knew at least 6 other people in the top 10 that had literal bots HSing them and literal bots kitchening them.
Yeah, and their ranking
nobody
should be
cared.
illegitimate, in my
Well,
opinion.
you can again. You say that the rankings only care like to you, right? That's what you said before. So,
Yeah.
if you know that these people are doing this, then you just disregard their ranking.
Well, Well, that's what I'm saying. Those people sat there and grinded, though. Just because the Kishin was illegitimate, I don't know. I guess, yeah, this is just where we fundamentally disagree.
It just taints it. What Ryan am I saying? Like, it taints it. It doesn't completely delegitimize it because you're still working hard. It's like using steroids, right?
I
You
don't
still
think
have to
anybody
work super
completely
hard
plays
to build your
clean.
muscles. Like somebody who's like jacked as fuck because they use steroids, they still work out more than the average person. They still work for it really hard, but you're still competing in like a different league. It's still different. It doesn't delegitimize. It doesn't mean that they don't work super hard to get, like, you know, Knut, right? The streamer, like, he's fucking jacked. He's built like a fucking truck, but he does steroids.
He's on the gear, yo.
Just in a different league. He still works fucking hard, way harder than other people. But to just say that it doesn't matter at all feels too simple. I don't know.
I don't think that it matters to the progress of that character at all.
Well, then why do it if it doesn't matter? They do it because it makes it easier, right? Because it's faster progress. Yeah, so it does matter.
I see what you're saying.
Got you there.
Right? Why else would you do it if it doesn't make a difference, right? For me, the problem is just if you're okay with that, which we can agree, it's not game ending. It doesn't make you a horrible person. It doesn't completely ruin the entire game. It just kind of lowers the threshold to what is the next thing you're going to be okay with, until eventually everyone is pushing each other into, because a lot of people are still trying to get that main rank. But if all of the people who are pushing for these high ranks are all kind of pushing the boundaries of what is okay and what is doable and getting these little extra gains everywhere, you're basically pushing everyone like, hey, if you want to compete for these ranks, you're going to have to cut corners everywhere you can, and maybe even where you can't, and then hope that you don't get caught. And I feel like this creates like a very unhealthy competitive
I would argue that MapleStory was always like that, though.
I would too.
And it's like,
during the Sushi and Tiger days, guilds would KS them just so that their guy could get ahead.
And it's grown by Nexon too. The way that Nexon has changed the game, it's changed much more from being like a community game and PQs and guilds and shit, and it's become much more individual. I think Nexon had a very big role in that as well, an instrumental role in kind of keeping very competitive players in the game and the more community-driven and doing things together and supportive characters. A lot of those people don't play MapleStory anymore. So
I think
as well.
one of my biggest issues, one of my goals was to be in the reboot Black Mage Party, and in order to do that, I had to be max level. So I wasn't really competing for ranks per se, but I wanted to like be one of the first people to be up there. So there was that, and it's a goal that I really shouldn't have had because I had been getting really busy with real life. I had 2 jobs, and I just didn't have the time anymore to really compete in that sense. So that was where just not really the game pressuring me, but more just like my own personal goals pressuring me, if that makes sense. So
yeah, and you've done similar things before, so it was something that you kind of expect yourself to be able to push, right?
Oh, you mean like first boss clears and
push for rankings. You've always been in those big parties doing the first things, and it was kind of expected of you, not just by the community, but by yourself as well, given your position, right?
Yeah, something like that. But
it's something I try to hammer on a lot with people who come in, is to try to set realistic expectations. I think your goal should always be like, what can I achieve? And then you should always put your goal just a little bit beyond that, I believe, so that you stay motivated and you do try to strive for something that is just beyond what you already know you can achieve before you're going in. But I still think it's important to have realistic expectations. That's why I also try to have people not to look too much at what other people are doing, because you don't know if the guy who's like 1 rank above you, maybe he started playing a year before you, or maybe he started last week. Just by ranking, for example, you can't really tell how fast someone is going. You can't really know. Maybe someone is like in between jobs and has 16 hours a day available and has 3 computers, and is like in no way you can ever match up. And maybe you have a busy life, and maybe you got a kid on the way, or maybe you got a new job, or like a lot of stuff can get in the way. There's so many confounding variables that can make it just very unrealistic for yourself to compare yourself to someone else. And I just see it like there are good things that can come of it, but there's also so many like negative things that can come from it. I just always try, when I log out, I try to be stronger or richer in the game or have had fun compared to when I logged in. That's my goal. And if I can inform some people and have a nice stream along the way, then that's a big bonus. But that's my goal. But
Well,
I'm
one
not
thing I
saying
want to
that
mention
it's
just
the correct way to play the game or anything, but if you compare yourself too much to other people, there's just a big risk of comparing yourself to an unrealistic situation, and you're basically you could be setting yourself up for failure, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was just gonna say real quick, like, what about all those other people on the rankings that
don't care.
are illegitimate, that are botters?
I mean, I
There's
think
know
so
what
many
I
people
mean?
on
I
ranks
think
who are
at
hackers and
like in the endgame reboot community, like people know who's who. Like
Right.
it's pretty small. So I
Yeah.
mean, if someone's there that shouldn't be, it's like people know not to play with that person, kind of thing.
Right.
So
But I mean, like, why isn't Nexon doing anything about them? Because obviously rankings is important, right? Right? Like, we already established that now they've changed this game from it being like community based, PQ based, to kind of it being more competitive, one-on-one ranking based. Why is it that they're even allowing these people to still be on rankings? Why is it that they're allowing these people to still play the game and compete with these other people when it's pretty much known at that point, right? Like you said, you can see people ranking up. You just know that some people are doing it.
I mean, to be
Some guys
fair,
never actively seeked people out. Even when like the people admit to it, they don't actively seek them out. They have to be like found in game, and I think
So
that's the biggest problem with the rankings.
I mean, to be fair to Nexon, they have been pretty good about the rankings post 275 cap.
Okay, fair enough. I haven't played since, so I don't know.
I mean, I think they're doing their best.
Yeah, because
But, I mean, is their best good enough is always the question. I mean, you can always
definitely
do
not.
better.
Not in my
You
opinion.
can always do better, but I think they're doing their best. A lot of people also have this idea that if anyone ever gets unjustifiably banned, that the company is shit or something. Like, I've never in my life heard ever about a ban system, an auto ban system that had 0 false positives. This will never happen. And we talked about this last week as well a little bit with Sam, who's actually into more programming stuff. And he actually said that if you don't have any false positives, what that means is that you are not casting your net wide enough and your system is actually flawed because it's not flagging enough things. It's just inherent in an auto ban system. That
Yeah, but I think Nexon's is the thing
because
is
of this,
though.
they have to give the benefit of the doubt. They have to give the benefit of the doubt to the person making the claim, right? So
Yeah.
there's also a bunch of people probably who got banned rightfully, then made a claim, and then got unbanned and reinstated. There are these people as well. Like, there's always...
Oh, there's a ton.
Yeah, there's always people who can get through the nets. But if you've seen in the last post how many accounts they actually banned,
Yeah.
you've seen those lists, right?
Yep.
It was insane. Like in the...
It was insane.
Was it
It was nuts.
Was it before 2019, or was it in in January, or was it in December?
No,
or
no. I
something?
think it was before
40,000?
2019. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 40,000 characters or something. I mean,
Also, I want to
honestly,
stipulate really quick, just between
over
this.
half of them, you can already
Yeah.
tell by the IGN that you should probably ban them.
No,
You
that's
just
the
see
point
the
I'm trying to make too. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, in World of
Yeah, go
Warcraft,
ahead,
you
Nick,
can't
you were
even
gonna
make an IGN like that.
The auto ban system and the ban system are really different things. The auto ban
Correct.
system, you have to put in packets that they have flagged. So
Right.
Yeah.
really only a noob hacker gets auto banned. So
Yeah.
Like
like the
script
majority of
kits,
that
right?
list, probably less than 1% of it was actual investigations into a player not hitting the system themselves.
mhm.
And most of the people on the rankings are doing their rankings in a way where they know they're not going to get caught with the packets they're using if they're hacking, or
Mhm.
they're botting in a way where they're doing it at their computer,
Mhm.
or they're doing it they're purposely circumventing the auto tools. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the people on the rankings aren't going to cop an auto ban. They
Right.
need to be personally investigated, or they need to be personally caught by a GM or another player.
Then you have these people getting white roomed, but then they can't type in there and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, Beck. That happened to Beck.
Yesterday, I got stuck in Ursus. I went to get an Ursus buff for Hard Will, and I couldn't leave the map anymore. I was stuck. That was cool.
I mean, there's definitely better ways to do it, but yeah, like
Weird shit. Yeah.
the people
don't
on the
know, I feel like
rankings,
they were-
wouldn't have bitten there if they were the kind of people to get hit by the auto ban.
Yeah, I don't know. I never got into any of that. It's just not. I'm trying to like enjoy the game, you know. And I feel like once you get into that realm, you're not playing the actual game anymore. You're playing in the IP and you're playing in the client, but you're playing a different game. You're altering
completely.
the rules yourself. So I feel like you're not really playing the game anymore. It's like you're playing Monopoly, but you're constantly taking money from the bank. It's like, well, I mean, if that's the way you enjoy the game, that's fine, but that's not how the game was designed. It's not what the balance was designed around, and that's not how everyone else is playing. So you kind of lose. I mean, especially since I'm trying to stream the game, if I start losing touch with how difficult the game should be, I kind of start losing touch with everyone else's problems in the game and with everyone else's issues as well. So it doesn't feel right. So.
I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like
both
they.
communities, so they do play for different reasons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No.
I've had friends that are making the hack programs on Gamersoul, and then I've had friends that are legitimately racing for real ranks, and they're playing for completely different reasons.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
On the white rooming
Yeah.
and GM whispers, I feel like they stopped doing that a while ago. I don't think I've seen anyone get white roomed
Yeah,
or
I
whispered
haven't heard that
in a
while.
very long time. Personally, the last time I was GM whispered was back in like Northern Heights days, which was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So what they would do is they would go around and like just ask. GMs would go to your map and just ask you if you were there.
Yo, dog, you here?
Please respond if you're available, and then you reply. If you don't reply, then you get banned or white roomed and then banned. So,
But,
yeah,
You know what's funny? A lot of those programs actually had respond
Yeah.
to GMs. So it's like you could put that shit on and then you're nice. You know what I mean? Like they could say, "Hey, are you
Yeah.
there?" And you just go like, "Yeah, I'm here." All right. And then as soon as they leave, you're just back to doing what you.
This has been the staple in MapleStory, where a bunch of new things will be implemented to make botting harder or to make hacking harder, and you see this like CCing with not being able to use more than a certain amount of attacks while standing in the same spot. You know, that's how it
Right.
started, and it became harder and harder. And then people who make these hacks, who make these Mac rank programs, they take this shit offline if people get auto banned from it, and they fix it within like a day or two, and it goes back online and everything's fixed. And meanwhile, the legitimate players who are still playing are left with the mess of a code that is trying to make the game harder for them to play. And the only people who were targeted with all of these things are not affected whatsoever, but legitimate players are now have to jump over these hurdles, and you got like cursed maps, and you got these weird ass captchas and runes that
Yep.
half the time people with mild color blindness can't even see.
Can't even
And
see.
then
Correct.
sometimes it's
Yep.
fucking rainbows, or the background color is the same as the arrows, and you can't even fix the map. You have to literally CC so you can still keep training. You know, it's kind of, or you know, in lead boss spawns with way too much HP that you can't even kill, and you lose your map. Or you know, you CC a bunch of times to find a map, and then you disconnect because you know there's like increased chance to disconnect if you auto CC, but it ends up debilitating the legitimate players and almost like driving them towards like I'm playing at a disadvantage here.
So that's what I was about to say, Scardo. Like I was gonna say that. Do you feel like that would almost encourage those legit players to kind of want to even reach those not legit methods because of all the hoops that they have to jump through at this point? Because it's like, why am I doing
Almost, but
this? I'm the only one getting penalized for it, and the guys that are
Yeah.
doing the illegal stuff,
almost,
they're
but-
laughing. Right?
But I would hope if you start feeling that you just start reevaluating, like, do I still want to play this game by the rules
True.
of this company? And if you don't, then either you say you say fuck it, you start hacking, or you play private servers, and if you get
Yeah.
caught, you just move on, or you just keep the honor to yourself and are like, I deserve better than this. Like a company that treats me this way, I deserve better. I'm gonna play another game instead. Another company, another game deserves my time more than this company. And you know, or you just say fuck it and see how far you can go and get away with it. But that's not the mentality I would have.
But one thing I also want to mention, since we're like while we're still on this topic as well, is in Reboot specifically, with botting. Do you feel like botting in Reboot is still bad in comparison to on the main servers? Because I mean, there's no economy. A lot of these people are doing it on maps that people don't even normally train on or farm on. So it's literally just them, and like people have to like really search and hunt for them to try to like figure out like, oh, this guy's botting. You know what I mean? It's like they're not really affecting anybody else. They're only progressing their own character. For those people, and some of them they're not even fighting for the ranks, right? Do you feel like those people, like, is it still technically bad? Because I guess, like, obviously it's against the terms of service, but I mean, like, would you care about it? Because
So
it's not affecting you, it's not affecting anyone else.
the thing with botting and reboot, so you have your like full on hackers using like full map attacks
Right.
and stuff, right? But then
Right.
more recently, there's just been an influx of just TP farming Kanas, and you can do
Yep.
that without the use of any third-party programs. Like you can just hold down
Yep.
2 buttons and have the same effect. So
Mm-hmm.
because of the discovery of like things like changing your keyboard to like a different language, like Spanish or UK or something, you can hold down 2 buttons at once. It makes it so easy that you can just hold down 1 button and just literally just make the same rates as like
Somebody
like a
that's-
top tier
yeah.
farmer. So
Right.
if you go to any map in Arcana like right now, you'll just see like dozens and dozens of Kanas just TP farming, and
Yeah.
you never know if they're actually there or not unless like they're like an elite boss spawns or if like there's a rune curse. So
Right.
Well, and
I
the
think-
people who are regular farming, their kanas are like very obviously spamming Kishin as well.
yes, so, like those ones are
90%
yeah.
plus are like key waiting.
Right.
Definitely.
Yes. So yeah, there are some people that they have two Kanas in the map. One's just Spanishing nonstop, and the other one's just spamming Kishin. Like those ones are very obvious that they're like key waiting on two computers. There's other ones. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very hard because they just blend in with the people that are doing it properly.
The actual.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
see what you're saying.
Well, but the
That's a good
question
point.
you asked is like, do you think it's wrong? Do you think it's morally wrong, or do you think it should still be against the rules, or do you like what's your
Oh,
specific-
Ryan's question.
Like morally wrong, like obviously that's gonna depend person to person. Like yeah, I guess that would be the main question, really, like morally wrong. Because like for me, if like my mindset of doing it was, I'm not affecting anyone else, right? Like at the time of what was it called? Blackheart, where people were farming 2 years
Blackgate
ago or
City.
whatever that made yeah, Blackgate City, where a lot of people deemed that as like the best spot. When I was doing it, I would never go on that map, steal maps, take maps, be botting on that map. 1, because I didn't want to get caught. But 2, because I didn't want to take that away from some of the legit players, right? I went my own way. I found maps that people weren't actually on, that people would never farm on ever, and went about it that way because I felt like, okay, I'm doing my thing. It's against terms of service, that's fine, but I'm not affecting anybody else. I'm not ruining their fun, and not only that, I'm not harming the economy because in Reboot I can't even trade. And I wasn't one of those people fighting for ranking, so I felt like morally for me, I'm like, hey, I'm having fun and I'm not affecting anybody else. So that's the kind of the question I was going for. Like, is it really bad? Like, can you really get after those people that think about it that way? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, just to make that clear, because if you're having a moral argument, it becomes a way less different conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because you can start talking about things that have nothing to do with MapleStory or with the game at all. If you're trying to flesh out your moral position, at that point, I mean, if you want to flesh that out, you're gonna have to like think in hypotheticals and shit. I talked with Zong with this a little bit, but didn't go too well. Yeah, I don't think that you can really say like somebody who bots in MapleStory is like has like bad morals or is amoral or something. Like, I don't think it is on any kind of level where you should care to that degree. The thing where I had a big problem is if you're doing that, but you have a community and you're telling the community that you're against it, but then you're doing it. I think that there I would have a problem with like the morality of your whole, because then I see
Right.
the contradiction right
It's
there.
like, yeah,
But if you're
deceiving.
just someone, if you're just Joe Schmo and you're like, well, I'm just botting because fuck the system. If I get caught, it's whatever. But I'm just doing my thing here and I'm not trying to bother anyone else. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even have time enough in the day to really care about that. Like, you do you, I guess. Like, I don't give a fuck.
So, but you know what's surprising? Yeah, but a lot of people, like you see, like you're saying, like you don't give a fuck. There's a lot of people that actually do, like a significant amount. Like people are
Well,
actually
I don't
like,
really
oh my
care
God,
if
like,
other people do. I care why they do.
Then that's a question I've been trying to find out for a long time. Like,
Like,
why
if
do
you're
they
not
care?
taking rankings off of Oz or Dojo or I don't know
Right.
what the equivalents to those are now. If you're not stealing literally any achievement goal from the grand community, then they're just mad because you're doing it.
They're progressing fast. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like I
Yeah,
feel like it's
'cause-
more like a jealousy type of thing in a sense.
Yeah, but
Well, I mean, You can
jealousy
still,
in that
like,
you're
look
not
at-
working as hard as them for what
Right.
they're trying
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, and that's different than thinking it's like a moral wrong.
Oh yeah.
I still think it's kind of a shitty thing to do, like, because other people are still gonna look at you and kind of see like, oh, that's the general rate of progression. Now I feel inadequate because I can't live up to that. But they're gonna be comparing themselves to an unrealistic standard. So that's gonna be like, especially if you're broadcasting it, that's gonna be an effect of what you're doing, and it's gonna make people feel sad. I mean,
when you're broadcasting it, then at that point you're kind of drawing it to yourself.
Yeah. So again, like, context is very important here. If it's just somebody who just, you kind of want to play MapleStory, you don't want to bother with like private servers and all of that shit that comes with it, and you're just playing by yourself and whatever the fuck, like, yeah, no, you're just one guy. You're not streaming. You're not doing nothing. You're not in the public eye. You don't really have an audience. You're just doing you. Like, I honestly don't care. Like, it's inconsequential in like the in on the planet. Like, it doesn't do anything. So I'm more interested in why someone would really be upset by these things, where that would come from, and then try to kind of explore that. That would be way more interesting to me than to point a finger at someone and be like, wow, that's morally wrong. Like, it's really interesting to me.
I have a question for you guys that kind of goes back to the original thing, but is off of this topic. Do you guys have any opinion about Zong's ban being purely a community ban, that he did not get caught through the system? Do you have any opinions on that at all?
Yeah, I do. For me, the reason why I feel that it was justified, because first and foremost, obviously, like, if Zong never came out and made the video himself, admitted it, then he probably wouldn't have been banned, right? Like, that's the only reason why, they reacted to it, right? So, for me, sorry, is my webcam lagging?
Right?
Yeah. So, for me, the reason why I do think it's justified, it goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier with, like, we have to be real here. Like, Zong is pretty much the face of, like, the MapleStory community in the sense of Twitch and YouTube. Like, everybody knows who ZeroByDivide is. Everybody does if they play the game. So it was kind of a thing where it's like, we have to do it by example. It's unfortunate, but it's like they kind of had to do it because they're like, okay, if this guy is kind of like the face, and if we're making him get away with it, what are all these other guys gonna think? You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, we'll give him a 30-day, we'll chain ban all of his accounts. Now people that are watching and people that are supporting him will go like, oh shit, Zong got banned. Like, okay, like, now let me not do it. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the kind of mindset that they had. So I do feel it's justified in that sense. If it was anybody else except for Zong, I would say it's bullshit. But like, I understand why they did it. I could see why. It does make sense to me, at least. What do you guys think?
No, to me, again, it comes down to the same thing. It's more like, why do you think there should be a consequence?
No, I agree with you. I did say earlier I wasn't expecting to be chain banned, but in hindsight, yeah, it does make sense that I was banned, as like an example kind of thing. I think, hold on, I'm looking over so they've been releasing Maple memos like bi-weekly or something. In one of them they brought up me specifically.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah. I'm just looking here. Hold on, let me bring this on screen. So after reviewing his account activity, we have decided to take action on his accounts, and this was completed yesterday. That line there, his account activity, I mean, I don't know, just this line can be taken out of context very easily. It's something I didn't really like, because they, like, what they mean by that is they just looked at which accounts I logged in.
You to everyone that wants to say that you,
Yeah, because, so, obviously it's like, no matter what I say, there's always going to be people that are like, oh, but how do we know you're telling the truth, kind of thing. But for me, like, I know what I did on which account, and I know that I only used macros on my old Kana. So after making a new one, starting fresh, and then like making like a what happened to my Discord? Everyone turned off. Whoa. That was spooky. Anyway, sorry.
Nope. Is everything good?
It's a little bit laggy, but we're fine.
Okay.
So after that, and then seeing that line, I was like, damn. I don't know. They're really painting me in a bad light, kind of thing. Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
could-
majority
I
of the
could
people
see
I've been
that.
fighting with in the MapleStory community. That when Zong came out and was like, "Hey, you guys, I fucked up. I did this. These are the consequences." Like, everybody just took that opportunity to just like rush in and be like, "I fucking knew it. He's been a hacker this whole time. I knew it." But it's like, no, like you're wrong. Like you can't just assume all of this other stuff about Zong because of what he did
but
now.
okay, so if I can interject a little bit, like this is kind of the problem when you tell a lie, though, right? Because there's people who will acknowledge the lie and they will still like you, and there's people who now will see you as a liar and then you lose. And I think that's probably one of the worst things about the whole situation for you, Zong, is that now there's a bunch of people who feel justified in just saying, well, anything he says is probably wrong now, and you can't really tell them like that's completely unjustified because you did lie for a certain period of time in a certain region, right? But this kind of the problem is once you start lying, you have to like lie to cover up the lies, and then nobody really knows what's the truth anymore. That's why they always say like honesty is like the only way to do things, right? Because if you just never start lying in the first place, sure, you're gonna make some enemies, and sure, you might not get everything you want, but at least you won't get to a situation where, you know, you get these kind of things happen. It just can't happen. Or, you know, people see it early on and then just not be your fan anymore, right? And then they'll just be a hater. And then you can say, oh, these people are just haters, right?
Yep.
Because they don't like it the way I say it, and I just say the truth. But
That's me.
when you lie, it also kind of, to some degree, I'm not saying that that's what this is, but it kind of indicates that, and like you said, like you know it was wrong, right? So you're trying to purposefully hide it as well, and that can give off like some insincerity. And then people who already were trying to see that in you, but it wasn't justified before, they will see that justification now. And the problem is that you can't really attack them on that because they're kind of right.
Is that sincerity not shown in the fact that he is the one who himself came out about it?
The thing
There's
is, though,
always going to be
the
when
thing
you
is,
make
though,
this kind of
I
statement after you get caught.
yeah,
There's
after,
always the
right.
problem is, do you make it because you got caught, or do you make it because you really feel sorry about it? And that's the whole problem now with like the hashtag #MeToo shit as well. Like that's a little bit like of a heavy thing. I think Ryan's camera froze, or he's
Oh,
doing
shit.
a
Can
statue
y'all still hear me, or is it
No,
frozen?
no,
I
you're
don't
good,
know.
you're good, you're good.
Froze.
I'm
Okay.
good. I'm good. I bless.
I thought it was in Madame Tussauds for a second. Holy shit.
No. Sorry, my bad,
Oh,
guys.
okay. Fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but like with the hashtag #MeToo thing, like, well, do we trust the people coming out with a story, and then one person comes out with a story, and then it turns out to not be true? It's like, oh, so do people with stories, like, you know, credibility is one of those things that you have to earn, and you had earned it over the years, but now a lot of people are like questioning, was that credibility justified or not? And that's, yeah, that's like an image thing, but it's also like a personal thing. Because over the years, I bet a lot of people feel like they kind of built up like a personal connection to you. And now everything is, you know, some people to a bigger extent than other people start second guessing things.
No, I
like,
understand.
oh,
Yeah.
how much of it was true and everything. Yeah. And yeah, it puts you in a shit position because you know you fucked up, and also I mean, to quote a famous MapleStory streamer, actions don't have consequences, but they do, right? And often not
See what
the
you
ones
did
that
there.
we thought they would. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me feel like the only way to like redeem myself is just, I don't know, to start over. So I don't know. I've been contemplating that, just making like a brand new account and starting on that. But I don't know. We'll see.
If you didn't get
I
put back on the rankings, would you even continue playing that account?
I don't know. Probably not on.
Really?
Probably not on stream. Let me finish my sentence. Not on stream.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Like I probably wouldn't create content on that account anymore, but I'd still probably play it. Like yeah, I don't see a reason not to.
I guess to an extent it would kind of feel like playing another game, right? If you just start over like completely fresh.
I mean, I don't
To a certain,
really mind starting a like. I mean, I did it for like EU reboot, and I found that a lot of fun. Like a lot of
oh yeah,
people
for EU.
were like, why would you want to do everything again, kind of thing. But I don't know, I get some enjoyment out of that. So,
Is your EU like clean?
yeah, I never,
Is
never
it
did
on the
it.
same account though?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah. Wait, so would EU also be off ranks then?
I don't
I would
know.
assume it would be.
Yeah. Well, right now, yes, but
Right.
we'll have to see after
Yeah, but now
that
it's
is up.
because you're still the ban is still on. Yeah.
Mm.
Honestly, I don't know, like this is just my vibe from it. I don't even think that starting over would change it. I think that people just the sense that I got from a lot of the comments and the reactions to all of this is just like, you know, we want you gone. We want you perma'd. Like,
Yeah, but people like to be fucking mad and outraged at shit too, because nothing really happens in MapleStory. It's like a fucking dead game, so anything that's kind of controversial that happens, people jump on that shit like fucking rabid hyenas.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I feel like starting over again from scratch. Like, I personally wouldn't do it if I was in your case. Like, and I would still stream, like, even on your main account too. I mean, I see nothing wrong with it, really. I mean, you already said you're reformed at this point. All you could do now is like the people that are gonna hate. Honestly, Zong, they're gonna hate. Sorry, they're gonna hate regardless, right? You can't change their view now because of what happened in the past. But you will still have those people that do support you that will still watch. And then you could just put your best foot forward from there and just continue to play on that account and do things legit and do things the right way, right? I feel like for the people that actually care, the people that actually want to see your content, I feel like that would be more than enough for them. They're like, okay, he's reformed,
Yeah.
he's still uploading, he's still streaming. I'm still gonna support this dude. Then you're gonna have those guys that are just like, yeah, fuck him, he should be permanent. And then you're just like, okay, well, guess what? I'm not. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
even
So
if you
it's
turn those people, they're always gonna be like immediately turned again when something else happens. Those people are always
Right.
gonna like jump to the next thing. They're not
Yeah.
loyal anyway.
exactly. It's like they were
The
kind of
people who were
waiting for your
loyal-
downfall anyway. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
They're just there for clicks and shits and giggles. Like they're not there for you. They're just for the drama or for the hype or whatever.
yeah. Because if you make a new account, they're gonna go like, oh yeah, they should ban his new account too. Like, you can't
Well-
win. Like, you literally can't win with some of these people. So
Well, that's kind of why last time and when we talked in Discord as well, Zong, that's why I was kind of trying to dig a little bit deeper. Just not because I want to like judge you or make you uncomfortable or anything, but if anything, the only thing that can really come from this is that you can just learn from the experience. So I'm just trying to basically try to help you explore what you can learn from this, so you don't have to be in a shitty situation like this again. Like it kind of sounds like fucking armchair therapy over here, but I mean, if you don't have someone that you can really talk this out with and be like, okay, this shit happened, I fucked up here. I mean, you're as small as it is. The whole ZeroByDivide is an IP, is a brand, and the brand is tarnished now. Like, you did some PR, but you still have to, for yourself as well, look at what happened and how you can make sure that this shit doesn't happen again. So if not with me, I feel like you still have to find someone that you can talk to this about. Maybe someone whose opinion you do care about, but who isn't as close to this as me. I mean, I can be 100% non-judgmental and just talk to you about it, and give you like confidentiality and not talk about it with my stream. Like, I'm completely fine with that. But if you don't want to, that's fine too. But I feel like there's still stuff to process through, and this month that you have where you can play anyway is like the ideal time to make sure that you got all your ducks in a row, so you don't fall like make a similar mistake again, because you've done a lot for the community. You don't deserve like the community to hate you, apart from the few people who are just gonna hate regardless, right? But now you've kind of given them a reason, and yeah, it just feels shitty, right? So somehow you got to work through that, but you shouldn't do that alone, I don't think, unless you think you can. But I don't want you to like wallow in like in just the situation itself. You have to find some way to process it and then learn from it, right? Mistakes are good. That means that you're trying stuff, but the most important things about mistakes is learning from them. So I hope.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, it's just not gonna happen again. Like, I can.
Yeah, but
I
like
can just say
the
that.
gist of the whole conversation we had was like, what happened, what went wrong was that I got caught. Like that's kind of what came out of it to be, and that feels like. So what you learned is that next time you'll just be more careful or something. That's almost like what it sounded like. Which, I mean, if that's really how you feel, then that's fine. Then at least I know that. But I don't know if that's how you really feel, because I hear like contradicting things sometimes. So I'm just wondering if that's how you feel. Like with Ryan, I'm pretty sure where he stands, so I can just respect that, because he's like straight arrow like all the way through, and he just doesn't take it too seriously. He's just having fun. If he gets caught, that's that. But he's at ease, you know, and the people who watch him know who he is and know what they can judge him on. Like it's not like he's untouchable now. They can still judge him on shit, but only because it's out of character or it goes against what he's saying.
I don't know if there's necessarily a problem with the basis for not wanting to do something again just being the punishment. I mean, that's why there's punishments for crimes, right? Like, we don't need people to think murder is wrong. Like, as long as the people that don't think murder is wrong don't want jail time.
Dude, I tried that one before. Careful.
Okay, well, yeah. Obviously, that's not flawless. But what I'm saying is just that.
No, it is, because we're talking
that this
morals.
Is what's going to happen.
This is Twitch chat.
In this specific situation, if he knows what's going to come out of him fucking up again, I feel like that's enough of a good enough reason. Like, he doesn't need to feel sorry that he did it in the first place. And not do it again, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, unless he really thinks it's wrong. But there's like two things, right? That's why I asked Ryan before. Like, there's wrong as in it breaks the rules, and there's wrong as in this is morally against what I really feel, and I shouldn't be doing this, right? Like a moral imperative. Those are still very different.
Sorry.
There could be like, oh, I shouldn't like jaywalk. But there's also one where you're like, oh, jaywalking is morally apprehensible, and anyone who does it like is a subhuman piece of shit. Like those are two very different
Somebody
things.
jaywalks, they get the electric chair. Simple, no arguments.
Like I don't jaywalk, but not because I think it's immoral, but because I don't like to put myself at risk. I don't like to put people in the traffic at risk. And if there's kids watching, I could set a bad example, and they might end up under a car because they are not of the same faculty of seeing traffic and being able to make good decisions. Like, that's my mindset, but I don't think someone else who does it is like, you know, deplorable, unless they do it when there's literally a class of preschoolers passing by, because then it's like, dude, you should see the situation there, and you're setting a bad example right now. And if one of those kids like fucking just runs under a car, it's kind of on you.
Fuck, my bad for laughing at that. That shit's joke.
But that goes like 18 levels further than what most people think about, so I'm aware of that. But it all depends on how flushed out is like your morals, and to which extent do you really care. And for 95% of people in chat right now, they're like, it's just a game, who the fuck cares? And it's kind of fine. But if you're streaming and you're as recognizable, you need to make sure that behind the scenes, you kind of get all your ducks in a row, and you kind of know what you're doing, and you're kind of, you know, at ease with your situation.
I definitely agree with that side of it. I just don't think that confidence of having your ducks in a row comes from necessarily the point that you were saying.
Which point?
That he necessarily needs to believe that like he shouldn't have done it. And I mean, obviously he shouldn't have done it in the first place, but
no, I don't believe that. I just believe that he should learn from the situation.
Yeah, and I'm completely on board with that. But I think that it's perfectly fine for him to learn from just the punishment itself.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I feel like it should go a little bit deeper, because it's like saying,
I mean, it probably should,
because it went against the TOS. I feel like it should go deeper. It's like, well, why is the TOS the TOS? What does the TOS try to do? Do you agree with what the TOS is trying to do? If you don't agree with that, then you shouldn't be okay with the punishment. If you do agree with what the TOS is trying to do, then you should be okay with the punishment, right? I like to go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I feel like majority of people don't go as deep into thinking about the TOS and morals and stuff like that as you do.
But I think what ends up happening is that you end up getting in similar situations again later, until you end up getting in a similar situation 3 or 4 or 5 times, and then you start digging deeper, and then you're like, oh, these situations were all actually connected on a deeper level that I didn't see. in the beginning. But that's kind of how you learn in life. You learn by mistakes. But then after a while, you start seeing a pattern, and you're like, oh, this is interconnected. But yeah, this is just an opportunity to learn, I guess. And if you want to, I'm here. And if you don't want to, that's fine, and I'll still be here in 2 years, I guess. But yeah, if you don't learn from it now, you learn from it eventually. Like, it's not like life goes on. But again, like, yeah, don't take it too seriously, but take it as an opportunity to discover where it came from, I guess.
But one other thing I wanted to mention, Zon, because you said like now you're reformed, everything's good, so you like feel like 100% for sure, like you would never ever do it again, like facts, 100.
Yeah. No, I'd never do it again.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Because like I always felt like for me, like the reason why I was screwed was like when I did it, and I was like, okay, like if I got banned or if I was to stop, I was like, holy shit! Like once I seen what was possible while doing it, I was like, oh, I could never go back to how I was doing it before. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like you could try to do it a little bit, but you're like, oh, it's not. The apple's not gonna taste as sweet as when I was doing it this way. If you know what I mean. So it's one of those things where it's like, are you like sometimes you feel like you might fall back into that trap of it again.
See, like the difference again between me and you, like hacking versus macroing. It's like there's a very big difference between being able to hit the entire map with one skill standing one spot, not having to do anything, not even having to press any buttons, and then just having a program that just runs, that's just holding down a button for you, and then presses kitchen every 2 minutes. Like the rates aren't crazy like that. And the thing is, like I did that on like a laptop beside me, but I was still farming legitimately on my main. So it's like I still have the ability to do that. It's not like I aren't. It's not like I'm not capable of doing that kind of thing.
Right.
So.
Well, but it comes back a little bit to the earlier argument, right? Where but it does make a difference, because if it didn't, then you'd have no reason to do it, right?
But in terms of like Ryan saying like I would relapse and keep botting because the rates are so good. No, the rates weren't that good. So.
Also, he's saying it didn't fundamentally change the way he played the game on his main.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. If I could circle back to what I said before about the expectations, this is kind of why what I try to explain to people as well is it's very important when you're let's say you're farming in your current situation. Like let's take my example. Like I have a laptop, I have a secondary computer, I have Kishin on there. I have all of the coupons I basically want at all times because I've saved up over a long period of time and I don't spend my Legion coins ever, so I've got like a huge bank. What I can do if every time I train like that, and that optimal scenario, what I could do is I could take that scenario and say like, this is my baseline, like this is 100% of my potential, and then 100% is just like your standard, right? And then if there's an event, oh shit, like it becomes 200%, and then it goes back down to 100%, right? However, if something would happen to Kana or to Kishin, and your rates would go down, the problem is when your baseline was 100%, and then you would go down to like let's say Kishin is removed flat out, you would go down to like 40%, right? And then, but 40% feels really bad because it's 40% of what your baseline was, so you kind of get fucked. What I do, which I've like discovered in talking to people and why I don't really compare to other people and such, my baseline of 100% is basically, if I'm soloing in a map without Kishin, without coupons, that's 100% for me. And then adding all the other stuff onto it makes me go up to like 400%, let's say, like with Kishin, with all the coupons and everything. So when something gets taken away from the 400% and I go down to like 300% or to 200%, I'm still at 200%, and it still feels good because it's still way better than having none of those buffs, right? So it kind of comes down to, what do you see as your expectation? What do you see as your baseline to feel? Because whatever it feels bad is just for you. It's just personally your feeling. But you can kind of influence if you would feel bad about something just by framing it differently, by putting it into a different perspective. So I think you do have the power yourself to make you less susceptible to feel bad about your situation. But as humans, we definitely have the tendency to become complacent in your current scenario.
I think it just comes back to like I said earlier, me having my like competitive mindset, like wanting to get to those levels, and like that's honestly like the only reason I did it, because I felt like I was falling behind, so I felt like I needed to keep
Fair
up,
enough.
and I just
Yeah.
didn't have the time to do that. So, like
But
my
not so
Starters
much
talking
falling
about
behind
is a
like other
super
people.
healthy mindset for like the average player, but I don't really think that mindset is
right.
realistic for someone in Zong's position.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it's because I had
I agree.
that mindset, and I used to have the time, and then I just never really got out of that mindset after I didn't have the time anymore. So
Bec-
that's
It became your baseline, right? It became your 100%.
yeah, basically.
Your expectation is I am top 5 always. Like that's what I do. I put in the time. I put in the effort. People expect this of me, but I expect this of me as well. Like this is just what I do. But then your situations change. You had less time. Maybe you weren't as into the game anymore. Maybe the whole drive to like rush or to go towards a certain goal kind of like it lost the magic, kind of, right? It wasn't that amazing anymore. But then you still have that baseline of 100%, and now you're sinking below it because you have way less time. Now you feel like you're functioning at like 60 or 70%, and you still want to get to that 100%. Do you kind of see, like, I'm trying to like illustrate through maths here. Maybe that like speaks to you because you do like numbers and shit, right?
Yeah, I see what you're trying to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Because
trying to do two things at once. Because yeah, it was more like I was training the Kishmeal while meso farming, and then level cap was raised, and then I wanted to continue training it while farming on my main. So yeah, that's what happened.
So Zong, you also said that there was like other videos made, like other people made reactions and stuff too. I was curious because I obviously like I haven't seen like any of the other ones. What have other people
Oh, it
been saying?
was-
Like, have some of them?
It was just you and Nick. So
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I also made a video, and that's
Yeah.
where I started fighting with the Reddit because a friend posted it on the Reddit.
okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying now. Okay, okay.
Reddit,
Oh.
fickle mistress.
do you
My
want
entire
to?
video was basically
Yeah.
I'll get into it right now. My entire video is basically Zong should have been banned.
Mm-hmm.
He should not have been perma'd because there's no reason to force out such a big part of the community.
Agreed. I could see that too. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I personally don't think that the chain ban was justified for the reasons I stated earlier. I don't think that he did any illegitimacy to his main in what he did. But I completely understand where you guys are coming from, that he only did it because it was going to benefit his main, right? So I
Right.
definitely understand, but just the way that I look at it is just this character is everything I've done to this character. All external forces, I don't really how solid the morals of those external forces are. The direct result was that I sat there and grinded for 3,000 hours on this character. And so I feel like I would still earn that. And so I feel that Zong still earned that in my eyes.
So the
That
thing
was basically
is,
the entire take.
with because I with the chain ban, so if this situation happened and a GM caught my Kana AFK training, then it would have been just that account banned.
Right.
And then because someone in my old alliance caught me, and then I don't know, I felt the need to make a video to have people hear it from me rather than from someone else, kind of thing. That's the reason I made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I made that video, that was the reason I ended up getting chain banned. So
Yeah.
it was kind of, that's like something I wasn't expecting.
So do you regret making that video then? Because if I feel like if that was me, I'd go like, fuck, why the hell did I? Oh, sorry, am I allowed to swear? I mean, I guess it's too
Yeah.
late, but I'll go like, damn, man, like, why did I make that video? I could have been blessed. I could have, if my alliance member wanted to do whatever, that's fine. We'll see how it goes. But you know what I mean? Like, did you ever have second thoughts about making that video and uploading it?
I don't know. I guess in hindsight, because the whole reason I did it on my Kana only was so it wouldn't affect my main, and now it's affected my main. But
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't.
You drew
I
that
didn't.
line in your head.
Yeah, I didn't
Right.
see that. Yeah, I didn't see that as an outcome. So
I see what you're
your
saying.
right.
Your reputation is kind of like currency, though, right? and these kind of rumors, like, they do spread and like swell. So it eventually, even if you didn't come out and say it, eventually people
I
are
don't
still
think
going to
so.
treat you as such, or at least the
He
people
was
that
he was he's so big in the community that one person that said that he was in his alliance, their word versus Zong
No, I
wouldn't
don't.
have been
It was
a drop in the
Yeah,
bucket.
I agree with that. Yeah, they wouldn't like if Zong wanted to say like, "Nah, bro, it wasn't me," and then just nobody knows who that other guy is. It's kind of hard to to compete with that, right?
yeah, but it that was like that he had video evidence and everything. So I mean, it wasn't really too much.
True, true, true.
Well, I mean, Rin had video evidence too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they doctored that shit. Oh
Are you
man.
really comparing Rin to
Good times,
Zong?
good
Zong is a
times.
nice guy.
No,
okay?
I'm just saying
Yeah,
that
Rin,
the
Rin is good.
realistic.
Rin's a nice guy, man. Come on,
Pretty
bro.
sure Rin's in the
We-
chat
you
right now.
can't- You can't
Yo,
take
Rin's the
videos back.
homie, man. That's the homie.
He sold his account when he quit. He didn't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah, man, that's blessed.
Dude, I'm gonna be real. If I was Rin is like the whole like I'm innocent. All right, fuck y'all. Like that's like the he dropped the mic, dude. I would.
Yeah,
I'd
bro.
fuck
He
this
definitely
community
mic
too.
dropped for sure.
He
for
might
sure.
drop that shit, yeah. But that was crazy. But the guy, like, he was actually falsely banned, yo. That was wild. Like,
I think Rin
Well,
is
they-
the reason why they stopped taking video evidence as like
Right.
they stopped banning off video evidence because of the
Yeah.
Rin situation.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's basically what I'm saying is that even if he had a video of you, like
yeah.
it's not really. In my opinion, it's still a drop in the bucket. And that's why I said that you basically earn sincerity points back. Not all of them, obviously, right? But it
Yeah.
shows good faith that you were big enough to be like, okay, guys, here's my entire audience. I fucked up. I did.
Yep.
He's not lying. I own up to this. So
Yeah,
like,
I
that's
respect
that's why I feel
I
that.
respect that.
For sure.
100%. I respect that. Like, the fact that you came out with it yourself, it wasn't, the video wasn't leaked, none of that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That, yeah, you took it on the chin. Like, yeah, that's why I, even like in my reaction video, like if you watch, like I said, that I still support you. Like as somebody that watches your content, I would still support you, and I would hope other people would still support you as well. Because I don't think, and obviously I might be biased because I did the same shit obviously on a much larger scale, but I don't think it makes me a bad person. I definitely don't think that this makes you a bad person. So I think people should still support you, regardless. You know what
So
I mean?
I want to bring something up real quick. Someone in chat just said that posting a video before he posted
Chat.
evidence doesn't mean that you owned up to it. And I think that that's a take that a lot of people will have listening to what was just said. But
Really?
remember, there was a 2-month period between
Right.
him getting caught and him making the video.
Exactly.
So like, he wasn't in a race to beat the dude to be like, oh guys, you know, I'm good. I'm admitting it before. he
Right.
can-"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he could have realistically never said anything.
Exactly. It's not
So-
like the guy caught him, and then as soon as the guy caught him, like he's already like recording a video and uploading
Yeah,
it
yeah.
that same day. It's true. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And then on top of that, he was already taking the steps to making it right in his own mind. Even if they weren't enough for his community, if they weren't enough of a punishment in the people whose trust he broke, he was still trying to make those amends from getting caught onward.
So the reason why, so in the beginning, like I got caught by the alliance member. I didn't think I was gonna get banned on any character at all because like I didn't get caught by Nexon. So I was
Right.
like, well, I fucked up. I was caught, and that is why I deleted the original Kishmil. Like that was like a permanent ban, like self-administered kind of thing. That's like the reason behind why I deleted that kind of, and then people were kind of questioning that. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just thought, since I had already agreed to make a new one, that like there was no real reason for me to keep the old one since I bought it on it. So yeah, I deleted that. That was the reason I deleted that.
Well, the thing kind of here is I think that because the rankings are such a shit show and Nexon's the way they deal with this game is such a shit show that we kind of have it, especially if you're really trying to test for legitimacy and within the community and everything, we kind of are doing our own thing and trying to kind of having our own tribunal of what is fair and how should we treat these situations and everything. And for the people who really care to weigh in all of this, I think they already were. So to a certain extent, I kind of understand what Nexon did, but I also understand people who feel like whatever Nexon did because of everything that came to light was kind of unnecessary because we were already Like we were already dealing with it internally.
Mm.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
have
yeah.
to like meddle. I can kind of get that feeling. Like if you're meddling here, then how about you fix up like the entire ranking and everything first? But
That's a
it's
pretty
not
big
so much
ask,
a case
though.
of yeah, but yeah, so it's not so much, but it's not so much a case of well, just because you can't do this one, because you can't do everything right, doesn't mean you can still intervene in one situation, right? That's kind of like it's almost like a fallacy. But again, yeah, I think well, one thing you didn't mention, Nick, and the thing that Ryan and I as well mentioned a lot is the whole situation was mainly just for setting an example for someone who's like the size of
Yeah.
Zong.
Yeah.
And I
I
think you kind of
think
agree with
realistically
that as
that's
well.
the only justification for the
Yeah.
chain ban itself. And
Yeah.
I just personally, I've never been a fan of outrage bans like that, and that's the reason I stand against that one. I think that the damage he did to his own reputation, that like you were saying, like the community was already self-regulating, right? It was already giving him his punishment. I think that should have been his punishment personally.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but anyone who's like calling for a permaban or something is really fucking unreasonable. We can just
Yeah,
ignore anything they say. Obviously, I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, because they've
Streamer
never.
privilege being thrown around a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It always triggers me because his streamer privilege was getting banned.
But dude, I get that when I use a cube and I get good potential.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like the whole
People call-
the streamer
people call
privilege shit. If it was streamer privilege, it wouldn't even ban him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they were just like, well, you know, because at the end of the day, they know that people are gonna like watch Zone. They're gonna go like, oh, well,
Ryan, that was a joke, Ryan.
yeah, I know, but I'm just talking about like in general. Like I'm just talking about the people in the community. Like it pisses me off when I go to the comment section. I see people literally saying like, oh yeah, like streamer privilege, permaban, this and that. And I'm just
These are
like,
just
what's
trolls,
I
dude.
think
These are
no.
fucking
I
trolls.
think there
No,
is.
I don't think they're trolls,
No,
man.
no.
It's, like some of these people.
I don't
are
think
legit, man.
that. I don't think they're
Yeah,
trolling.
some
I
of them
think they.
honestly do believe
I
it.
think they just don't understand how the ban system works, because there have
Right.
been a lot of first offense permabans, but those were the false. When they tried to do like a ban wave and then they get caught in like in the ban, like legit players get caught in the ban wave, and it's a first
Yeah.
offense permaban. But that's because it's an auto ban. Whenever there's like
Right.
a manual ban from a GM, it's always like there is a system. It's like first offense is 2 weeks, second
2
offense
weeks,
is
yep,
one
exactly.
1 month, and then I don't know where it goes from there. But then eventually,
Right.
on like the third or fourth offense, it ends up in a perm ban. So,
Yeah.
like they, well, from my experience in
TOS, it was like at least 1 week or something.
yeah, something like that.
Like,
But,
at their discrepancy.
Like they only really permabanned for manual bans. They only really permaban on first offense if the action was as severe as something like a meso exploit in a regular server that was affecting the economy, or like a mass
Right.
dupe or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think all the people screaming permaban just don't understand like how the ban
How the
system
system
works.
works.
Yeah,
They're just out for blood, dude.
right.
They just want to see. Again, like it's a dead game with barely anything happening. So anything that happens, like in their boring, sad lives, like they can finally have something to be excited about.
I wouldn't think of
Another
that
thing I
far,
wanted-
but yeah, go ahead, Baron.
Another thing I wanted to say was because I know on the last podcast I was watching a last podcast, you were saying that like you hope that you don't get the same type of treatment, like whatever like account you play on, like something would happen or whatever. I don't think you have to worry about that. I think that because one, obviously, like we mentioned, what you did was completely different from the stuff I did, nowhere near as severe, so you don't have to worry about that. But I think that especially if you're reforming, then and they see it, I don't think you have to worry about them like banning all your accounts again.
Right.
I don't even think that's a fear.
And your ban
at all.
was a permanent, right? Like you just straight up got
Yeah.
permaban. Right.
So what happened? I'll talk a little bit about it. So everything was good. Everything was good. I tried to go deposit meso into the storage shop in or the storage in Henny, and then my game froze, and I tried to go back in, and I was permabanned. So I wasn't even doing anything illegal at that point. So I don't know what happened.
I think-
then after that, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, I think at that point like your account was already flagged, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah. At that
They
point,
don't
yeah.
ban people on the spot 99% of the
Right.
time, so that way you don't know what got you caught.
So then at that point, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So then I had other accounts, so I was good on that. Then those ones started getting banned. And then I knew, like, for me, when it was the final straw, when I knew that, like, okay, Nexon just doesn't want me playing their game, was when I was streaming another account. I don't know if any of you guys remember this, if any of you guys watch, but I was playing a blaster at the time, and I was cubing, and I literally got banned on stream for trading, but I was playing in reboot. So when I seen that ban message, I was like, okay, yeah, this is like the biggest slap in the face. They're just like, yeah, don't play our game because you got
Dude,
banned for trading
if
in
you're trading
reboot.
in
So,
reboot, you're 100% hacking, dude.
yeah, exactly. But all I was doing was cubing. I was like, shit, like that was just like a slap on the face. It's like, yeah, this thing isn't even possible, but we're banning you for it. So I was like, okay. At that point, I'm like, all right, fair enough. So I think you're good, Zone. You have no worries about that at all.
Yeah, what
Yeah, but
really
it's more
what
because
really
you're in a
scared
different
me
spot, right?
was the fact that in the chain ban they chain banned my main, and then like the one account that I personally thought was justified was the old Kishmil, which I ended up
Right.
deleting. So they banned that. They banned my main. They banned my new legit Kishmil, and then they banned my brand new 2-day old account that I'd never streamed. I was like, what?
Right.
How did they know?
How they know?
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah,
that was kind of scary to me. So
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah.
So how many more days do you have left on
I
it?
think the 17th I'm released, 16th or 17th. So another 2
Alright,
weeks.
man, it's almost there. It's almost there, man.
Yeah. Kind of shitty. Miss out on a whole month of Symbol dailies. I missed Dark Lords. I missed there's a Utah event right now. It's really good for mules, but I mean,
Yeah, I seen that.
yeah, it is what it is.
Didn't you have like high legion anyway already?
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, you
About
can
the
always bounce
games,
back,
but-
right? Those things will always come back, and it's one of those things like because it's the same thing that you said, like you want to keep up type of thing. Right? I was just going off with what Squadra said, like just try to get out of that mindset of like wanting to keep up or like missing out on things. Just go at your own pace, right? It'll be one of those things that it'll stop you from wanting to go back. Well, you already established that you wouldn't go back to it, but you know, just who cares? Dark Lord's Pass, that will come back, comes back every year. This Utah event, like I don't know, I think this is the first time it happened. I'm not too sure. I'm not too into it right now, but
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure that
probably
would
not
come
coming
back at some
but
time. You don't think so?
other stuff
Well,
comes
hey,
back.
you know what? You win some, you lose some. It's gone, right? Who cares? You'll still be able to progress in many.
yeah,
other ways,
it
so-
was more of a minor thing.
what I mean?
It was more
Yeah.
for like the coin
Yeah.
shop rather than Legion. But I mean, yeah, there's nothing too major in there.
Right.
But yeah, like I said,
Well,
I
it does
just
add to the weight, right?
yeah.
Of the consequences.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I just didn't expect to be banned on the main account, so yeah, just feels bad, but can't say it's unfair or anything like that. So yeah. I think we can wrap it up there. I think Scarno needed to head to bed early for
Oh, yeah?
2x
I forgot.
after reset, so
Yeah, dude is keeping a map is making me keep it for a little bit, so I'll be around for a bit.
alright. Well,
I do wanna-
I think it's a good time to wrap up. So just want to say thank you guys for joining me today.
Of course, no worries.
It
And
was
having
good
me.
chat. Nice to meet you guys.
yeah.
Likewise.
Nice to meet you guys.
All right. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you guys for watching the stream. I'm off. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Yeah. Have a good one.